YouTube channel from Support Host. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss about how to set up OpenVPN on Windows Server 2019. We can define OpenVPN as a full-featured SSL VPN. OpenVPN uses OSI layer 2 or 3 secure network extension using the industry standard SSL or TLS protocol. OpenVPN supports flexible client authentication method based on certificates or smart card or username or password credentials. OpenVPN is also the name of the open source project started by OpenVPN co-founder and which uses the GPL license. This package is named as OpenVPN Community Edition. Apart from free Community Edition, OpenVPN also have paid versions. As I said earlier, during this learning course, we are setting up OpenVPN Community Edition on Windows Server 2019 to forward all IP traffic of client towards VPN server once the clients are successfully connected, which means we use OpenVPN Windows Server to tunnel clients' internet traffic. Before we get started, I have also prepared a step-by-step blog article for the same setup and the link is available in the description box. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when we post new videos. Alright, let's get started. I have divided the OpenVPN setup into 6 main sections and each sections are 1. Installing OpenVPN server. 2nd. Install and set up OpenSSL toolkit. 3rd. Configure OpenSSL. 4th. Set up Master Certificate Authority or CA and generate certificates and keys for OpenVPN server and clients. 5th one. Enable NAT on OpenVPN server. 6th. Create configuration file for server. 7. Set up OpenVPN client and testing the OpenVPN connection. So let's jump to the first section, that is installing OpenVPN server. Here we are installing OpenVPN Community Edition MSI package on our VPN Windows 2019 server. We use same MSI installer on client machines too, since the same executable provides both client and server functions. So first log into the Windows 2019 server. Okay, I am logging into the Windows 2019 server. Here I am using Windows Remote Desktop Connection. Give the password. Once we successfully logged into the Windows 2019 server, open any browser and go to the OpenVPN website. Here openvpn.net is the official website of OpenVPN. From their website, under Community, click Downloads. Move down and here we can see the Windows installer of OpenVPN. Right now I am downloading the 64-bit version because my Windows server is 64-bit. Click on download. It will automatically download it to our downloads folder. Open the MSI and here the installer opened. From there click customize. Here in the next screen we can see there are few features that we can be installed along with the OpenVPN installation, and by default from all the features few of them are not selected, so we need to make sure all the features are selected during the installation. For example, here we can see OpenVPN service feature is not going to install because the red into mark is there. So click the small arrow and a pop-up window will open. There we choose we will be installed on the local hard drive option. So using that option we are going to install OpenVPN service during the OpenVPN installation. Another one is we need to select ECRSA certificate management script. This OpenVPN utilities will not be installed by default, so we have to select it manually. So I am choosing it to be installed, and here right now we have selected all the service features available with OpenVPN MSI installer. Then click install now. Wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Now we will see the message as OpenVPN installation completed. Click the close button. Now we will see a warning message as OpenVPN service is not found any config file for the OpenVPN. That's fine because we will create the OpenVPN config file later. So click the OK. Now up to this point we have completed the OpenVPN MSI installer. Now to confirm the installation of MSI package, let's go to the Windows Services section and search for OpenVPN. There we can see a Windows service is with the name OpenVPN service. This means that this server installed with OpenVPN. Another option to confirm the OpenVPN MSI installer is go to the Windows Show Hidden Items side, and there you will see a small monitor icon with the name OpenVPN GUI. If you right click on this, you can see different options like settings, import files, etc. These are the options available during OpenVPN installation. Also, we will see a OpenVPN GUI icon in the Windows desktop. If you double click on this, under hidden notification section, we will see OpenVPN GUI options. Also, if we go to the Open Network and Internet settings, under Ethernet, change adapter options, there right now we can see two additional network adapters got created with the installation of OpenVPN. Those are OpenVPN Tab, Windows 6 and OpenVPN Win 10. So all these things confirm that the OpenVPN MSI package got installed successfully, and we can either manage the OpenVPN service from Windows Hidden Notification section or from the Windows Services section. So this concludes the OpenVPN installation setup. Now let's move to the next section. The next section is Install and Set Up OpenSSL Toolkit. OpenVPN uses public key infrastructure, which is PKI, for certificate generation and management. It is the technology behind digital certificates. The PKI consists of a separate certificate, also known as public key, and private key for the server and each client. Also a master certificate, CA certificate, and key which is used to sign each of the server and client certificate we generate. For PKI management, OpenVPN provided us ECRSA2 scripts. It's a set of scripts which is bundled with OpenVPN MSI. The ECRSA scripts folder location should be normally C program files OpenVPN ECRSA. But the problem with this ECRSA scripts like build CA is they will only work if the OpenSSL package pre-installed on our Windows servers, because ECRSA scripts invoke the interactive OpenSSL commands for issuing SSL or TLS certificates. In most Windows servers, the OpenSSL toolkit won't be available because it is not a package provided by Microsoft. So we have to install it manually. Then only we can make the ECRSA scripts to work. So in this situation, we decided to not use ECRSA scripts for generating SSL TLS certificates, and instead of that, use the OpenSSL commands directly for generating SSL TLS certificates. And later we will use those certificates for client server authentication. So let's first install and set up OpenSSL toolkit in this section. For that, okay, go back to the Windows server and open Windows PowerShell. From there, issue command like OpenSSL version -a. This command is used to verify whether OpenSSL is installed on Windows server, which is normally a OpenSSL version check command. So right now we can see OpenSSL is not recognized as the name of cmdlet, which basically means that right now in this Windows server the OpenVPN is not installed. So let's see how we can install. For that, first use the curl command and download the OpenSSL Windows package from the website of the OpenSSL Windows package developers. So copy the command and paste the curl command in the Windows PowerShell. This curl command downloads OpenSSL Windows installer from the developers website. Hit enter. Let's wait for the download to be completed. Once the downloading of OpenSSL installer completed, we need to execute the installer. For that, we can either use this Windows PowerShell command or go to the downloaded folder and double click the downloaded exe file. So right now I am using this PowerShell command /win640 opensss.exe and hit enter. It will open the setup wizard, and right now we can see the warning as Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 package is not installed in this server. This is the pre-requirement for the OpenSSL installation. So by clicking yes, we can download this Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 in the server and can be installed. Then only the OpenSSL commands will work properly. So confirm it by clicking yes. and a browser will open and our Visual C++ installer will be downloaded. Click on the installer and the installation wizard will open. Confirm the license agreement and click install. Let's wait. The installation of Visual C++ got completed in the server. Once it got completed, we will get setup successful message. Click close. After that, let's proceed with the OpenSSL installation wizard. Confirm the license agreement on OpenSSL installation wizard and click on next. Choose the installation directory. Here by default the installation directory will be C program files OpenSSL Win64, but I am changing the installation folder as C OpenSSL Win64. I am doing this for easily identifying the OpenSSL installation folder, and after that click next. Then leave the shortcut name as OpenSSL itself and click next. Here we will be asked to select the additional tasks you would like to set up to perform while installing the OpenSSL. So the default option is the Windows system directory. That's fine with us. Leave the default option as it is and click next. Confirm the installation by clicking the install. Wait for 1 or 2 minutes. The OpenSSL installation will get completed automatically. Okay, once the OpenSSL installation got completed, in the final wizard we can either donate an amount to the OpenSSL package providers or just untick the option and click on finish. So this completes the OpenSSL installation. Now we need to add OpenSSL installation binary folder. That is, in our case it's C OpenSSL 64 bin directory to the Windows environment path by issuing below 2 PowerShell commands. Then only if you type OpenSSL commands in Windows PowerShell, the Windows will identify the OpenSSL binary and output the results. So let me issue the below 2 PowerShell commands. Okay, this completes adding the binary path of OpenSSL to the Windows environment path. After that, we also need to export the OpenSSL config file with the variable name OpenSSL_conf. For that, issue below command in the PowerShell. By default, the OpenSSL config file location will be C OpenSSL 64 bin and the file name will be openssl.cfg. Once we set the OpenSSL conf variable, we also need to add the system variable OpenSSL_conf permanently. For that, open Windows Run and type sysdm.cpl. From there, click on Advanced tab, and from the Advanced tab, click on Environment Variables. From there, under System Variables section, click on New. Here, under variable name, we have to give it as OpenSSL conf, and the variable value will be the OpenSSL conf file location. That is C OpenSSL Win64 bin, and the file name is openssl.cfg. Let me give the full path in the variable value and then click OK. After that, click the OK button again, then click OK. Okay, now we have completed the OpenSSL setup in the Windows Server. Now let's move to the next section. In the Configure OpenSSL section, we configure OpenSSL installed in the server to build SSL TLS certification for OpenVPN. Also, to avoid a possible man-in-the-middle attack where an authorized client tries to connect to another client by impersonating the server, and make sure to enforce some kind of server certificate verification by clients. For accomplishing this, we are following below method. That is, build our server certificate with specific key usage and extended key usage as per RFC 3280. So let's see how this config setup can be done in the OpenSSL we installed in the earlier steps. Now go back to the Windows VPN server, and as part of the VPN OpenSSL configuration setup, first go to the folder C OpenSSL Win64 bin folder. Before that, in the previous section, we have successfully installed OpenSSL version. Now at this point, if you open the command prompt and issue OpenSSL version -a, it's a command used to check installed OpenSSL version, we get a successful result, and right now the installed version is OpenSSL 3. So this states that OpenSSL is successfully installed in the server. Now let's see how we can configure the OpenSSL in the server. Then only we can successfully generate OpenVPN SSL certificates. For that, first go to the OpenSSL installed folder, that is C OpenSSL Win, and then under that go to the Win folder. From there, first create a folder named Demo CA. Now go to the demo CA folder and in that create another folder named sets and new sets. The sets and new sets folders are the default folders where the generated OpenSSL certificates will be available or will be stored. Now under demo CA folder itself, create a file named serial. This is the file which keeps the serial number of generated SSL or TLS certificates. So let's create a file named serial. Make sure there is no txt extension with the file name serial. For that, remove the .txt extension. After that, open the serial file with any text editor. I am using Notepad, and in that give a value as 01. This is the initial serial number we inserted in the serial file. Let's save the file and close. After that, create another file named index.txt. Now let's see what are the changes we need to make in the OpenSSL configuration file in order to create SSL certificate for OpenVPN. For that, open Windows File Explorer, go to My PC section, go to C drive, then go to OpenSSL Win64 folder, then go to bin folder. There we can see our OpenSSL configuration named openssl.cfg. Open that file using any text editor. In that I already made the changes. So let's see what are the changes that I have done. So move down, and the first changes we need to make is define the directory where we keep our SSL certificates or generated SSL certificate. So that directory is defined under default CA section and the variable name is dir. And here I have defined the location as C OpenSSL Win64 bin demo CA. So this is the demo CA folder, will have all the informations regarding SSL generation and also the generated SSL certificates. Here this index.txt file, it's a database index file for OpenSSL which keeps the information about what are the SSL certificate we generated in this server. Here we can see another variable as serial with file name serial, which contains the serial number of each SSL certificate generated in this server. Now let's move down. Before that, we already created this serial file and index.txt file in the demo CA folder. Also, we have created the sets folder and new sets folder. Those are the two folders where the generated SSL certificate are kept. Now let's move down and look at the required section. Here we can see that the variable named x509 extensions. Here we define what are the extensions and information that we need to be inserted in the creation of SSL certificates. So those informations we can define under v3_ca section or at user_search section. So the variable name is x509 extension because x509 extensions are the version number. Now let's move down and look at the v3ca section. Now the first section is use search section. Here we define values like subject key identifier, authority key identifier, basic constraints, key usage and extended key usage. So when we define these values under user search section, at the time of creating SSL certificate, when we use the extension as user cert, then these values will take effect for that certificate creation. So as per the recommendation of OpenVPN, we have to define these values under user search section. Then only our generated certificate will have extended key usage and key usage values. And later those values will help us to avoid DDoS attacks. And move down. Let's look at the v3ca section. This is the section in which we define values for the root CA certificate. So when we create root CA certificate, we use this v3ca extension. So when we define any values under this section, those values will be used for creation of CA certificate. Then the another section is v3 request section. We can also use this section for the creation of server or client certificate generation, but we are not using this section at this moment. So let these values as it is. Alright, those are the changes we need to be done in the openssl.cfg file according to the recommendation from OpenVPN and make sure to save this file from the text editor options. Here I am using Notepad, so file save option is the changes to save. Alright, that completes the OpenSSL config changes. Now let's move to the next section. The next section is set up Master Certificate Authority or CA and generate certificates keys for OpenVPN server and clients. In this section, we are creating CA and generate certificates and keys for server and clients. After that, sign those certificates using the CA certificate we created in the first place. Also, we are using these certificates later for OpenVPN client server authentication and authorization. Additionally, we create Diffie-Hellman or DH key exchange keys and generate another or additional shared secret key that is used in addition to the standard RSA certificate or key. So let's see how this can be done. For that, go back to the Windows server again and open Windows command prompt. In that, go to the directory C OpenSSL Win64 bin demo CA. This is the folder where we keep all the files related to OpenSSL certificates. CD to that, and after that the first command we use is the generation of root CA certificate. So for that I am using this first command and copy paste it in the Windows command prompt. After that hit enter and give the information needed for the root CA certificate. Usually it will be country name, state, something like that. Give the information as per your environment. Here I am giving the common name as OpenVPN server because that is the fully codified name of our OpenVPN server hostname. Alright, this completes the generation of root CA certificate. Now let's move to the next command, which is a verification command for the CA certificate we created. Issue this command and look for the extensions values and make sure the needed extensions we defined in the extension v3ca from OpenVPN config file, and we can see informations like the validity of CA certificate and the extensions that are added in the CA certificate like basic constraints and CA values, etc. Now let's move to the next command, which is the generation of server signing request certificate. So issue the third command, and here we are naming the server CSR file as server.csr and public key file as server.key. Hit enter and give the necessary information needed for the CSR signing request. Here I am giving the name as server because we are creating the certificate for server. Once the server certificate got generated, move to the next command, that is signing the generated server certificate request. Confirm the signing by typing yes. And now at this point we have successfully generated our server certificate with the name server.crt. Now let's verify those generated server certificate using the next command, and here from the result we can see the needed informations are already added to the generated server certificate. Now let's move to the next command, which is also a verification command, and using that command we are verifying the server certificate with the CA certificate, and it shows that the server certificate is okay, which means this generated server certificate comes under the chain of the root CA certificate. Now let's move to the next command, which is the generation of client certificate. The first thing is the client certificate generation request. Give the necessary information. Here I am giving the common name as client1 because we are creating the certificate for a client. Here at this point we generated the CSR file for client PC which named client1.csr. Now let's move to the next command, which is the signing of those client CSR file using our root CA. Confirm the signing by typing y and commit the changes by typing y again. So this completes the generation of client and server certificate. Now let's move to the next command, which is generating Diffie-Hellman parameters. For that, issue below OpenSSL command. We can see the DH parameters are getting generated, and it's 4096 bit long. Normally it will take some time, so let's wait. Okay, once the DH parameter key has been generated, we move to the next command. That is for generating extra shared secret key. For generating extra shared secret key, we use OpenVPN command instead of OpenSSL command. So for running OpenVPN command, first we need to go to the OpenVPN bin directory folder. That is cd2 c program files OpenVPN bin. From that directory, issue below command. This command will generate the secret key named ta.key under democa search folder. Now for getting an idea about the location of our generated certificate files, open Windows Explorer and under C drive, go to OpenSSL Win64 folder and from there go to bin directory and there we can see democa folder. Click on that and there we can see under democa folder the client1 CRT certificate file and server.crt certificate files are there, and now under search folder we can see our generated CA certificates, DH parameter key and the TA secret key files. So this completes the generation of needed certificates for OpenVPN, and now let's move to the next section. Now we are in the Enable NAT on OpenVPN server section. As I mentioned in the introduction section, we are setting up our OpenVPN server to route clients all IP traffic such as web browsing and DNS lookup through VPN server itself. For that we need to NAT the OpenVPN 10-tap network interface to the public internet through OpenVPN server public interface that already have internet access. So let's see how this can be accomplished. For that, okay, go back to the Windows VPN server. From there, open Server Manager. Once the Server Manager window opens, click Add Roles and Features. The Add Roles and Features wizard will open. Click Next. Choose Role-Based or Feature-Based Installation. Click Next. Select our server from the server pool. Click Next. Here, choose the Remote Access Server role. Click Next. In the Features section, leave all the default settings as it is and click Next. In the Remote Access section, click Next. In the Role Services section, choose Direct Access and VPN. A pop-up window will appear. Click Add Features. Then choose the Routing Services too. Click Next. In the Web Server Role section, click Next. Leave all the selection as it is and click Next. Confirm the Remote Access Server role installation by clicking on Install button. Let's wait for completing the remote access server role installed in the server. Normally it will take 1 or 2 minutes. Once the installation got completed, we will get the message as installation succeeded. Click the close button. Now from the server manager itself, from the left side, click remote access. From the server name, right click on it and choose Remote Access Management. The Remote Access Management window will open shortly. Once it got opened, from the Remote Access Management console, from the left side, click Direct Access and VPN. Now choose Run the Remote Access Setup Wizard. Choose Deploy VPN only. Now Routing and Remote Access Manager console will open. From there, right click OpenVPN server name and choose Configure and Enable Routing and Remote Access. In the Routing and Remote Access Server Setup Wizard, click Next. Choose NAT, Network Address Translation, the second option, and click Next. Here we need to choose the public interface where we have internet access. In my case, it is the first one, Ethernet. Click Next. Here we need to choose our OpenVPN 10-tap interface where we are going to enable NAT on it. So choose OpenVPN tap Windows 6. That is the 10-tap interface name in the OpenVPN server. Click Next. Click on Finish. Here we can see Routing and Remote Access Service is getting initializing and restarting the services. Let's wait. Once the Routing and Remote Access Service got successfully started, from the Routing and Remote Access Manager, expand our server name, then expand IP version for under NAT, click our public interface name, choose right click on it and choose Properties. Now click Services and Ports. From there, enable Remote Desktop. In the Private IP Address section, type our OpenVPN server public IP. Click Apply and click OK. Okay, this completes the enabling of NAT on OpenVPN server 10-tap interface. Now let's move to the next section. The next section is create a configuration file for OpenVPN server. In this section, we create OpenVPN server configuration files and make necessary changes in it. So let's see how this can be accomplished. For that, go back to the OpenVPN server again. Now open Windows File Explorer. From there, go to C drive. From there, click on Program Files. From there, go to OpenVPN directory, and there we can see sample config file folder. Go to that folder and copy the server.opvn config file. This is the sample configuration file provided by OpenVPN package during the installation. We copy this server.opvn file and paste it under config directory itself. See program files. OpenVPN config is the folder location where OpenVPN service look for OpenVPN server configuration file. So we need to copy our OpenVPN server configuration file in this directory. Once it is copied, open the server.opvn config file using any text editor. Here I am using Notepad. Click OK. Once it opened, and here we can see the port number we are using for OpenVPN connection is 1194, which is defined in the OpenVPN server configuration file. Move down, and the first thing we need to define is the location of CA and server certificate and key locations. So in our case, the CA certificate location is C openssl bin demo CA search ca.crt. You have to correct these locations according to your environment. Here I have already corrected the values for CA, cert and key. After defining the location of these certificates, let's move down, and there we can see we also need to define the location of DH key, and the directory used is DHC openssl win64 bin demo ca sets dh4094.pm. dh409496.pm is the DH key file we have created. So make sure to define the location of DH key files, and after that move down. The next thing you need to define is enable the option for allowing NAT on OpenVPN. For that, uncomment the option push redirect gateway def bypass DHCP. By using these options, the OpenVPN servers are allowing all traffic of OpenVPN clients once they successfully connected. After that, move down and also uncomment push DHCP DNS 20.208.67.202.222 and the next DHCP option too. Using these two DHCP DNS options, what we are doing is we are defining the DNS service that can be used by OpenVPN clients. This is necessary for NATing the OpenVPN client traffic towards OpenVPN server. After that, move down and define the extra TLS auth key we created. The file name is ta.key. So also define the location of that key file with using TLS auth directory. Here I have also defined that one, and we also need to use the parameter as 0 along with the key location, which means that this OpenVPN installation is acting as server. Now move down, also define the cryptographic cipher we use using data ciphers directive. Here I have also defined that one as data cipher AES 256 GCM. This is the new cipher which by default used by OpenVPN versions greater than 2.4. Now move down, and here also define the status file location. This status file shows current connection truncated and rewritten every minute. This is just a file that shows status of OpenVPN service. So define a file location for that one too. Here I am choosing the OpenVPN status file location into C program files OpenVPN config folder itself. So after all these parameters are defined, make sure to save the file from file and click on save. Now at this point our OpenVPN config setup is completed and our OpenVPN server is ready to start. Before we jump into the starting of OpenVPN service, we also need to open our OpenVPN connection port 1194 in the Windows firewall. Here I am using a PowerShell script for that. So issue this command in the Windows PowerShell. Once it successfully executed, if we go to the Windows firewall graphical section, you will see a firewall named OpenVPN is created for allowing UDP port number 1194. So this completes the OpenVPN server setup. Now let's start OpenVPN service. For that I am going to the Windows show hidden area, right clicking on the OpenVPN GUI icon and click on connect. Here we can see our OpenVPN connection is getting established. Let's wait. Once it's successfully connected, we will see a Windows message as the server is now connected and assigned with IP 10.8.0.1. This is the private IP given by the OpenVPN for the server. Now we can also see a green color shows up at the OpenVPN GUI hidden notification area. So this shows that right now in this OpenVPN server, the OpenVPN is successfully started and ready to accept OpenVPN client connections. At this point, if we open the command prompt and issue the command ipconfig show all, this is the command used to list all the IPs assigned in the server network adapters. And if you look into the TUNTAP interface created by OpenVPN, we can see now those interfaces assigned with IP 10.8.0.1. This is the private IP of our OpenVPN Windows server. So all these things confirms that right now our OpenVPN setup is successfully started and ready to accept OpenVPN client connections. So this completes the setup of OpenVPN server, and now it's the time to check OpenVPN connections from the client side. So let's see how we can initiate a successful OpenVPN client connections from the client PC. So let's move to the final section, that is OpenVPN client connections. Now we are in the final section, which is set up OpenVPN client and testing the OpenVPN connection. In this section, we first install OpenVPN MSI installer on client PC like Windows 10, and after that we will set up OpenVPN client config files. Finally, we start the OpenVPN connection and test it out. So let's see how this can be accomplished. For that, okay, now we are in the Windows 10 client PC. So the first thing is we have to download the client certificate we generated, that is client.crt and client.key, and along with the CS certificate. These files are we already created in the Windows OpenVPN server. So download those files, these three files from there, and make sure to use a secure channel for downloading those files from the server. Here I have already downloaded these three files in the client desktop. So after that, the second thing is we need to install OpenVPN MSI package. For that, open a browser and go to the OpenVPN official website. From there, under community, click on downloads. Download the Windows 64-bit MSI installer because the client PC is a 64-bit version. Download the package. Once the download got completed, open the MSI package files. Choose the same installation method we performed in the OpenVPN server. Click on customize. Make sure to choose all the features are enabled for installation. Here you can see OpenVPN service is not enabled. Click on the small arrow and choose it will be installed on the local hard drive, and do the same for openssl utilities too. Once that done, click the install now button. Confirm it by clicking yes. Let's wait 1 or 2 minutes for completing the OpenVPN. Here we can see the OpenVPN installation got completed. Click the close button and let me minimize this browser. And here also we can see the OpenVPN GUI shows a message as the config file is not found. That's fine. Click OK. Now we have successfully installed the OpenVPN in the client PC. Now the third thing is copy these certificates. After that, open Windows File Explorer, go to C drive, program files, and there you will see OpenVPN folder. In that, go to config folder and paste those certificates. Once that done, so in this client PC we decided to keep the certificates in the C program files OpenVPN config folder itself. After that, go back to the OpenVPN folder and go to sample config. Here we can see there is also a client configuration sample file. Copy that one and paste it under config folder, because this is the folder where OpenVPN service looks for client and server config files. So we need to create the config file in this folder. Okay, I have also downloaded the additional TLS auth key file named ta.key in the client PC too. Copy that one to the same config file, OpenVPN config config file folder location. And after that, open this client.config file using any text editor, and then let's see what are the changes we need to make. Here, the first changes we need to make is define the OpenVPN connecting IP and port using remote, then IP, then space port number. Here, the default port number for OpenVPN connection is 1194, and then give the server IP. So remote 192.168.137.214 space 1194. That is our connection info. After that, move down, and here we also need to define the location of CA and client key and certificate file locations. So define those values. Here the location of our certificate files are C program files OpenVPN config, because we copied our certificates in those folder. Then move down, define another value as remote set TLS space server. Using this value, our OpenVPN client will check server SSL certificate during connection establishment and check for extended key usage values from the server certificate. This is used for avoiding man-in-the-middle attack from OpenVPN environment. Now move down, define another value TLS auth, then C program files OpenVPN config ta.key. This is the extra TLS auth key we generated for avoiding DDoS attacks. So define the location of that file. Then move down and also define the cryptographic cipher we use over OpenVPN connection. Here I am using cipher AES 256 GCM. This is the recommended cipher for the latest OpenVPN versions. Alright, those are the changes we need to make in the OpenVPN client config file. Now it's the time to test the OpenVPN connection from client PC to OpenVPN server. So make sure to save all the changes we made in the client config file. After that, from Windows hidden notification area, right click OpenVPN GUI icon and click connect. Here we can see the OpenVPN client connection is establishing. Let's wait, and after the connection got successfully established, we can see client is now connected, welcome message, and our OpenVPN client is assigned with a private IP which is given by the OpenVPN server. By default, those private IP ranges will be from 10.8.0/24 range. That's why our assigned private IP address is 10.8.0.6. Now at this moment we can test our OpenVPN connection. For that, open command prompt and try to ping Google, and the successful message from ping shows that our OpenVPN connection is established and all the public internet traffic from the PC is routed through OpenVPN server. Another way to confirm this OpenVPN connection is open our web browser from client PC and check what is my IP. Here we can see now our public internet IP got changed into OpenVPN IP. So we can also try to ping the private IP of OpenVPN server, and the success message from ping shows we can also communicate to the OpenVPN through this private IP range. So all these tests shows that our OpenVPN setup is successful. Okay, we have successfully completed the OpenVPN setup on Windows Server 2019 and successfully connected from a Windows 10 OpenVPN client PC. Also, we have seen how to route all IP traffic from client side through OpenVPN server. I hope this video is informative. Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts at the comment box. See you soon on next.